Big reveal. Yeah, it's me. And this is not my star field, although wouldn't that be pretty, eh? A little star field. No, it's a beautiful shawl that I got down at Exile, down in Kensington Market in Toronto. Great place to visit if you ever come to Toronto, and certainly if you want to have a mini vacation, if you're living in the GTA, Greater Toronto area, get down there. It's wonderful. That's where I go for my mini vacations. Anyway, I know this is a very intimate place to be doing my vlog. It's my bedroom, which is, you know, my space. But I'm going to be talking about space, so I thought, you know what? We're talking about UFOs today. But my experience. No, I'm not a ufologist. Not at all. I'm not a you know, a specialist or anything like that, but I suppose I could be, because I'm an abductee contactee. And for those of you who are clicking off now, see ya next vlog. But to go back, the reason I'm, well, okay, it's really hard. It's hard to do this because I promised my kids I wouldn't be going out into my UFO plank, walking the UFO plank, because they really had a lot of problems with ridicule and bullying in school. Because back in Bradford, where I lived, which is now Bradford, West Gwillimbury, I had a store, and I also had a reputation as the UFO lady, because I had the largest selection of UFO books north of Tallahassee, Florida, I think, and and on healing and everything, and artwork and jewelry and stuff like that in my store. But it was people considered it a rather witchy store, and and of course I was very open about my UFO contact, because I was on I had gone for, you know, hypnotic regression back in 1989 at the behest of my friend Betty Stewart Dagenet, who's since passed, long past. She passed away in 1991, I believe. It was 91, 92. Anyway, the point is that I went to Dr. David Gottlieb, who is now a psychiatrist, but he was a GP psychotherapist at that time, and he was also working with Bud Hopkins with the Intruders Foundation. And Bud Hopkins wrote many books. You can check it out. Maybe some of you have even read some of his books, Intruders being the most famous one. He also wrote books on missing time and other events. But the thing is that so I had my hypnotic regression, and of course I'm not going to go through my experience here, because you can read about it here, but in UFOs Over Canada. But it's really not something I really want to talk about here at this point. It goes a little deeper than this. Back in the 90s, I had, like I said, after I had I talked about my experience, and Dr. Gottlieb and Bud Hopkins realized, yeah, this is the same. I had the same kind of experience as some lady in Germany and other people, and they said, yeah, this is official. You're not psychotic. You're not crazy. You know, this really happened. We believe you. And then the appearances started, because people approached Dr. Gottlieb to find out if he knew anybody who would talk about the experience. So I thought, well, yeah, if it'll help people. So I went on the Christopher Thomas show on CBC. I went on the Jeannie Petty show, Fifth Estate with Hannah Gartner. You know, the Toronto Star wrote an article. The Toronto Sun wrote an article. I had a UFO symposium in Bradford, Ontario. It attracted 500 people talking about all of this. Had great speakers, and you know, all of this. But I was very out there because I thought it was really important. But the laughter curtain came ringing down pretty hard, and I also had a program on Rogers from 1994 to 1998 after I shut my store down, because I didn't do very well with my store, because in Bradford it was like the people of Bradford are very nice, but they didn't like my store because they thought it was very witchy and very weird. And I got an invitation from the Jehovah's Witnesses to come to the Kingdom Hall there, and I was warned by someone in town not to go because they were planning an exorcism. You know, I found bread on my store door. Someone would do communion on my store door. Then in the Baptist church, a friend of mine who attended there with his family, they were friends of ours, said, "Gee, Joyce, you're up there with the Antichrist," you know. So it was, they had devoted 2 sermons to me and to my store to stay away. So I really didn't do very well financially in Bradford, and I even had someone come representing, he said the town council. He was not on the town council, but he said, you know, you're not going to be allowed to have this store in town. So it wasn't very good. If I was down in Toronto at the time, in Queen Street, I would have been the most popular parent in town. But I was in Bradford, and it was a different scenario. I don't blame them. I just know that I was living there. We had a house. I had 2 kids going to school, and I wanted to have a business. And why couldn't I open up a bulk barn? Wouldn't that have been a lot easier? No. So anyway, so I put that aside because I said I wasn't going to talk about UFO stuff and all this kind of thing. But to be honest, there's been a lot more coming out in the news. The Pentagon, the CIA, and I'll tell you, the United States, they're the slowest ones to come forward with disclosure, the tightest-lipped. Canada, a good second, but when you come to other countries, they're saying, yeah, they're here, it's among us, we have UFO. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. It means I'm going to kiss a fool, right? Anyway, so yeah, there's more and more people are stepping forward and saying, you know, like, we notice these things, it's not like anything we have. We know it's not the Russians, we know it's not the Chinese, you know, so what is it, you know? Well, they do know, but they're just trying to get us prepared for disclosure. And I feel a little, you know, vindicated by all of this because I had a lot of interesting experiences from the time I was 6, and Bud Hopkins said it was probably even before that. So how did I so I might as well talk about this. How did I meet Bud Hopkins? Because he's down in New York, right? And I didn't go to New York to see him, but I did go to Chicago to see him. Because one of the appearances I was supposed to make, the Jerry Springer show called Dr. Gottlieb and asked, do you have anybody who would be willing to talk about their abduction contact experience? He said, oh, yeah, I know someone. He called me. And it's really funny, just a little digression here. A couple of weeks before, my 9-year-old son had asked, I wonder what it's like to eat Chicago pizza. And almost in the same sentence, paragraph, he said, and I wonder what it's like to ride around in a limousine. I'm thinking, strange questions, but 2 weeks later, after Dr. Gottlieb's call, the Jerry Springer show contacted me and said, we will fly you and your family to Chicago. We want you, we want your husband, we want your son, we want, a friend of mine was coming, and they were flying in a psychologist from Austin, Texas, because they have to have the psychologist. I may be doolally, and Bud Hopkins from New York. So I thought, wow. So we got on the plane and went to Chicago, and I do believe in the hand of God. And by the way, God created the entire universe, okay? Not just the heavens and the earth, like as in this planet with this little atmospheric, puffball around it. The stars, the planets, everything. It's a cohesive whole, the entire universe. As a matter of fact, so God created everything. If you believe in God or the Creator or universal forces or whatever you believe, physics, physics will tell you. Everything depends on everything. Everything relies on everything else. Nothing's an island unto itself. So, let me sort of hair in my eye, my face. So ended up in Chicago, and it was windy. It was like in May. It was May, and it was very Chicago is a windy city. They brought us down to the beachfront and had me, doing photographs of me standing on the beach, then take a picture of the beach with me not there. So of course they'd have the picture of me there, and then poof, poof, I'm gone, that kind of thing. So there's special effects. Anyway, so, and of course Jerry Springer's limo picked us up at the airport, and so my son was driving around a limo, and we had access to a driver in the limo, and we were each given $100 a day this is back in, what was it? It was 1990, just a second, I have to count. 1993, 1992, okay, or 1993, yeah, 1993. Anyway, so $100 a day, American, was a lot of money we had for each of us for our meals for the day. So we ended up at Eduardo's in Chicago, eating Chicago pizza, of course. But as the producers, they do pre-production meetings with the guests. They had hired the audience, they had hired the crew. Everything was ready to go the next day. But they had been talking to us, and they had asked my ex-husband, do you believe what your wife is saying? So they're trying to, get some kind of, it's Jerry Springer. This is before he went really, it went really crazy on Jerry Springer, where it was really, antagonistic. It was not as antagonistic in those days, or else I would not have agreed to go on. My ex-husband said, well, why shouldn't I believe her? This is her experience. Why wouldn't I believe her? And he really did support me in this, so it wasn't the reason. In 1998, we did part ways, but that wasn't the reason. But anyway, I digress. But they talked to me again, and they talked to Bud Hopkins, and they talked to the psychologist who was being actually on his way from Austin, Texas. They diverted him, sent him back to Texas, and they called me, and they called my husband, actually, not me. And my husband came into the hotel room. He said, how much was it worth being here with Bud Hopkins? Because I've been able to go to the museum, the local art museum, with Bud Hopkins, and take a look at some art and discuss it with him. And he has his stuff was in the Guggenheim, his work. So he's no slouch. He was an incredible artist. He's since passed. But the point was, it was very important for me to talk to Bud, because Bud was able to tell me, no, this probably happened to you right back when you were an infant. The abduction started then. And because my mother had to come as well to this, was also in Chicago with us, because she had abduction experiences, as a child, had orbs of light coming into her room and playing with her as a child, My mother could also levitate. And I know, click, all right, this is over. Bye, for anyone's leaving right now. But when I was about 9 years old, 9 or 10, my brother and I, this is in Ottawa, we're living on the 34 Sunnycrest Drive. So anyone's living there, it's not a spooky house, it's not. But she came into the living room, she pushed aside the coffee table, and laid in front of our blue Danish couch back in the 60s. They had, that Danish style furniture. She laid down on the floor. She said, look at what I can do. And she literally levitated like about a few inches off the floor in front of us. My brother doesn't remember this. He was too young, but I remember it. And when she told me again that she had done it again when she was married to her second husband, I thought, oh, that was real. When I remember when I did this when you were kids, and I showed you what I could do? Yeah, Mom, I did it again today. I'm going like, oh, that was real. Okay. She's also bilocated. I've also bilocated once that I know. But this is stuff that happens. People have had abduction contact experiences. Weird stuff happens. And not everybody's weird either. A lot of people are very, very ordinary, regular folk who aren't coming forward to talk about their experiences. Anyway, So I am coming forward now to talk about it again, because I do believe that disclosure may happen in our lifetime, my lifetime. I'm 66. I would love to see it, but I don't really know how that's going to happen. The CIA, like I said, the Pentagon, they're starting to get a little more loose-lipped. Other countries are far more loose-lipped. In Israel, I forget who it is. Is it the defense minister? Can't remember his name. Anyway, he was saying, yeah, this UFO thing is real. You know, Stanton Friedman, who I knew, he also said UFOs are real. You know, and it's hard to wrap ourselves around, you know, our heads around. And do we want to? Do you want to believe stuff like that? Well, maybe not. And it would really change a lot of our belief systems, you know, probably how we see things, faith. I mean, I was raised, I think, I'm thankful for how I was raised. I was raised as a French-Canadian Roman Catholic, but then I left and I became interested in Buddhism and Eckankar at one point in time, and transcendental meditation and New Age stuff. I had, you know, that was me. And also, you know, evangelical Christianity. I even took a dive into that, and Messianic Judaism, until I finally settled back into Judaism, and where, you know, because I'm matrilineally a Jew, from my great-grandmother who was Dutch Jew, to my grandmother, to my mother, to me, blah, 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 and so on, the matrilineal thing. So, but it's like, I'm glad I experienced all those things, because, whoa, the motorcycles are out today. And happy Thanksgiving Day, by the way. It's Monday, so they're out. last big hurrah on the motorcycles before the snow comes at the end of the month. It's predicted. Anyway, but I'm just saying, you know, I'm glad I had all those experiences, because, you know, things are going to change. And actually, the Lubavitcher Rebbe in Judaism was asked about, you know, extraterrestrials, or, you know, like life on other planets. He had a very, very wise answer to it, saying really that who are we to limit God? And if you don't believe in God, then, you know, whether it's the creator, the universe, physics, whatever it is, you know, however you see how we are, you know, like, because we're not just flesh and blood, you know. I mean, maybe a lot of people say, yeah, we're just flesh and blood, and when we die, that's it, boom. But I don't think so. And a lot of people don't. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out soon, I think. Anyway, I did mention that I had a TV show on Rogers from about 1994 to 1998, when I left Bradford after I left my husband, called Interstellar, the UFO Show. And actually, oh, look at this button I'm wearing. This is a button from my program. This was I had a great big background like this on my program, Interstellar, the UFO Show. So follow the light. But we know the light. For me, the light is Hashem. You know, that was my business card for my Joyce's Curio Shop. Also has the same logo on it. And what can I tell you? That's what it is. Anyway, I wrote a little song for excuse me, get my voice here. I wrote a song for Interstellar, the UFO Show. Actually, I wrote it before, and then I used it for Interstellar, the UFO Show. And I'm going to sing it right now, okay? And I will be leaving links in, by the way, for UFOs over Canada, compiled by the wonderful Mr. Canada himself, John Robert Colombo. Should get an Order of Canada, that man, for all the work he's done to bring together all the Canadiana. My goodness, without him, a lot of things would have been lost. Anyway, so I'm going to sing this song called Starlight, okay? Excuse me. Okay, should have had a drink of water before I started. Okay. Starlight Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Might be Venus or some unknown light, hovering a bit too low tonight. Ball lightning, sheet lightning, weather balloon, or something strange out of a Far Side cartoon. What was that I saw tonight? Well, I was looking for a satellite. It was bright as a star, blue and red lights blinking. A UFO, oh no! What could I be thinking? Then a beam of light, but as a halogen, scanned my body again and again. A message said to get myself ready for changes that would make the world unsteady. Live in the now, be aware they cried, and let compassion be your guide. Is that all I said? And they replied, get inside and we'll take you for a ride. We time travel to a time on earth with no war, hunger or strife. This, they said, could be Earth's new life, but only if we do the simple things like living in the now and compassion brings. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Might be Venus or some unknown light, hovering a bit too low tonight. Ball lightning, sheet lightning, weather balloon, or something strange out of a Far Side cartoon. She likes my singing. This is Yoko. Yes, anyway, yeah. She's my little alien cat, no. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and look forward to more strangeness and weirdness, and more vlogs about life, the universe, and everything. And like I have said before, maybe the answer to everything really is the number 42. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that simplify things? Hey, what do you think? Yeah, she thinks so. All right, so until next time, see ya.